Hello everyone and welcome to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia for the fourth round of the Formula Sprint 2 Championship in 2025. My name's Toby Davis and I'm joined once again by my co-commentator and friendly cat lover, Alex Foulkes. Welcome, Alex.
Yeah. My cat was annoying me before this. They've now gone away. So that's good for me. Maybe not good for the broadcast because we seem to like a meow here.
Yes. Mine is currently on my lap. It will be back, and in greater numbers. I have two. So, yes. How many cats have you got?
One on your lap.
Oh no,
4.
You've got 4. You can
Yeah.
have one on your lap, one on each shoulder, and the other one on the end of your foot.
I'm sure they'd try if they could.
Yeah, mine likes to. My older one, Petal, its current favourite thing to do is to wake me up in the middle of the night by rubbing its head on my face and then licking my cheek. Don't know why she started doing that. It's very irritating. She's 6 years old. I thought I'd learned everything I needed to about her, but this is a new thing she does. So there we go.
You see, because all the old techniques weren't working, she had to come up with something new.
I know. I want attention, please. It's like 4 a.m, Petal. Go to sleep. But there we go. Right, there's a championship on, in case you didn't know. And currently leading it is Kasper Koritz. He has been Mr. Consistent this season. 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 8th, 3rd, and 2nd. Puts him top of the top of the standings, I should say, not timesheets. He is followed by Sandeep Singh, who has also been gathering points quite well and took his first victory last time out in Japan. Junior Lopez dominated the first round at Australia, but unfortunately for him, had a DNF and did not start at the last round of Japan due to mechanical pedal issues. So he'll be looking to recover if he can.
Yeah, definitely not a good round for Lopez last time around. Like you said, retiring and then not starting. So 0 points is quite a big blow at this point in the championship. And Kasper Koritz, even without a win, at the top of the table. And yeah, it's quite a good position for Kasper Koritz to be in here at this race, because he only really has to worry to stay in the championship battle currently about Amara Watson, because Sandeep Singh isn't here. And so we don't have to have to deal with that, I guess.
Sandeep Singh's not here, is he?
I believe. Is he?
I believe
thought
he is.
wasn't here. I thought he said he wasn't coming to this one. Maybe the next one.
He's here. He's
okay. It's
right
the
there.
next race that he's not here. I'm
I was
going
to say. No, don't worry. No stress. I've forgotten all about this interview. So, but yes, I was looking at the standings just now. There, indeed, they are. That was actually the practice results, if you like. Well, obviously, there's no times, but Amari Watson topped the times with Kuritz and then Singh. So, championship contenders. Obviously, it's early days in the season. We're a quarter of the way through the season after this round. Time flies, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like yesterday that we were talking about the first round of the championship, but that is how it works, unfortunately. But yeah, Amari Watson, fastest in practice. And he's another one I think will be looking to get back to the top step of the podium. He took the first race victory at Turkey and then had a sort of middling round at Japan, had a second place in the first race, and then couldn't recover many positions in the reverse grid, only finished 8th. Whilst Kuritz, who was 3rd in the first race, managed to get to 2nd place. So different fortunes for those two. We're looking at Mikhail Tuamala out on track right now, who is Junior Lopez's teammate at Scuderia Cap Clay. Always trips me up, that one. And that team is 4th in the standings in the teams. RGS, obviously reading game, with Kasper Kuritz, Brody Lawless and Christos Philo has in that car. They are atop of the team's standings, but it's all very tight early on. But Jeddah, fast sweeping corners. We were discussing this beforehand. More likely, I would say, to cause problems for these drivers with the tight walls and the fast sweeping corners, wouldn't you say, Alex?
Yeah, it's not helped by it being a difficult track to overtake on. I'd say there's about 3 notable overtaking opportunities, one of which we're coming up to right now, which is the final hairpin of the track. It's a nice hard braking zone into a decently tight corner, which is where I'd imagine most of the overtaking is going to happen, and then you'll have a bit of a battle after that sort of overtake down into turn 1, which is the second sort of opportunity to go for a move, unless you're going to go down the inside into one of the S's, which is a very, very bold move, but can pay off if you get it right, but can also go very wrong if you make a slight mistake. And yeah, there's the first corners, and Tuamala navigating them quite nicely. I'd say this could be an overtaking opportunity if it's taken okay. Tuamala sliding a little bit there through turn 3, but through the S's, this looks quite nice. We're still on board, and through turn 7 and 8, that looked a bit wide for Tuamala. I don't think that was in the white lines. This is what I would say the last real overtaking opportunity is at this sort of boon curvy section here, where you can try and get a nice bit of momentum around the outside or on the inside. And basically, just try and keep it quicker as Tuamala sideways through the right-hander, very nicely held. And I think for him, that's the sort of lap, I don't want to say wasted, but he's 4 temps down on the fastest Sector 1 already. And in Sector 2, he's almost 6 temps down. So a second off what the fastest runners are going to be setting. I would say this sort of lap isn't ideal to be setting as a banker lap.
No, and it's a very long lap comparatively to what we've had so far this season. They're going to be, close to 2 minutes per lap after they've completed their lap time. So not a great deal of time to turn this around. I think you'll see more drivers doing 2 laps in a row here, as opposed to going into the pits immediately, coming out, going in, coming out, because you won't get 3, or you'll be very close to getting 3 runs in. Whereas we have seen 4 runs previously in the season. But Julio Lopez takes provisional pole with a 51.821. We were just watching his teammate Tuamala, who's down in 13th. I think Tuamala's lap was a bit sketchy and perhaps pushing a little bit too hard. David Afri out of sync, so we're going to watch him complete a flying lap. There's a few that are a little bit out of sync, perhaps didn't quite get out onto track straight away. But the rubber does build up for everyone at the same time, even though this is private qualifying, which means you are out on track alone. It does mean that every time someone does a lap, the on-track rubber will build up and you will get more grip. One of the features of rFactor 2 and the real road system they have is that it does develop and change every time someone drives around the track, and that will affect everyone in this session, even though they can't see the other drivers. So David de Vries through the first sector, just over a tenth off the pole time, but that's not too bad actually, through what is quite a technical section. This middle section is all about momentum, and can he maintain that momentum as he comes towards the second split? He's only a couple more tenths down, Alex. This is a pretty decent lap.
Yeah, I'd say that's quite good for de Vries, but looking a bit forward, here's Casper Kuritz, purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector, has one more corner to navigate, and this is looking like a very, very, very strong lap here for Casper Kuritz, and he is not going into the pit lane. That was going to confuse me, and Casper Kuritz does cross the line at 51.640, beating Junio Lopez by almost 0.2 of a second to provisional pole, as Sandeep Singh slots himself nicely into that gap between Lopez and Kuritz, and Kanda here with a decent Sector 1 and Sector 2, 7 tenths down. If he can maintain this through the final sector, that'll put him about P10 behind David de Vries, who we saw setting their lap just a few moments ago. The Sector 1 and Sector 2, they were quite good. And Kanda here will cross the line, goes up to P13, slotting in behind Lucas Murno, I should say.
Indeed. But yeah, Kuritz setting a very good lap time there, 51.6, which is pretty quick actually, not too bad at all. In practice, they were only just in the 51s, 51.9 for Amari Watson, so 0.3 tenths faster already in qualifying. Obviously, the track conditions improving throughout the session, and this is a very heavy reliance on grip, this track here. The corners are long and sweeping, and you're in corners a lot, even though it's a high percentage of full throttle. The corners you're in are long, so it's all about balancing that downforce and drag levels on the rear wing and the front wing, which they will have done. And we have seen a bit of a disparity in top speeds actually, especially I can see Sandeep Singh is running quite low wings. He's done a 2.47 in a straight line, compared to Falkenhayn, for example, in P6, who's done 2.43. So best part of 4 clicks difference in a straight line, which is not nothing. That's quite substantial actually. It doesn't sound like much, but with a bit of slipstream as well, that will make overtaking quite easy for Singh. So he's obviously set his car up for that on a track which, as you said, Alex, is very difficult to overtake on. You've got to get fully alongside into the sweeping corners, the faster corners, and you've really only got this tight corner at turn 1, the last corner, as well as proper traditional overtaking areas.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging track to pass on, but it would be helped if you have a straight line speed advantage, which we've talked about before a couple of the races. We talked about it in Australia, but I don't think it would have played as big a part as it would here, because, well, look at the straight we're about to go on to. Look how long it is. I would say this is about 15 seconds full throttle down to the turn 10 and 11 complex here. And it's just a long straight. And if you're able to get past before you even reach this corner, that's going to be a huge advantage for whoever is able to set the wings the lowest. But in terms of setting them the highest, I would say Simon Kanda, with 242.5 kilometers an hour in the speed trap, is probably, in fact, is the slowest car on the track in terms of straight line speed.
Yes, and he will need to improve his lap time if he's going to be able to use any of that straight line speed. Junio Lopez went purple, but only just in the first sector. He's currently third, His middle sector, though, only a 10th off, so this could be an improvement for Lopez. He is rounding the final corner now and coming towards the start-finish line. The advantage of this track, I was just going to say, if you see on your Delta that you are down, it's quite an easy pit lane to enter from there. And you have to make sure, obviously, that you are not going to improve as you come towards the line, but you can duck into the pits and have another go if you know you aren't going to improve on your lap. Everyone has a live Delta on their steering wheel to show where they are against their fastest lap. It's quite a handy feature, and those who are not going to improve, for example, Yunus Karala here, will have seen that. He's going to duck into the pits and have another go.
Yeah, like you said, it's quite a late pit lane entry there, so you can just dive back in when you want to. As we cut to Alice Stone, is that 5 seconds down in the first sector? That's not very motivating for Venus Motorsports, I would imagine, as Caitlin Penny sits P29. Damakarako is not setting a lap time. I'm not aware of the penalties, but I would imagine that's something to do with the penalties. We got to Ben Skinner, who's 2 tenths down on the best time in Sector 1, and through this long sweeping wiggle, I'm not calling it a straight, because, well, it's not even close to being straight, through 10 and 11. 2 tenths down as well in the second sector, and this is looking like a fairly decent lap here for Skinner. This could put him relatively high in the top 10, I should say, about 10 to, I would say, 6th is absolutely possible. Where David DeVries has actually set a faster lap time to put himself in 6th. I hadn't noticed that before, but he's moved himself up, showing a bit of the pace we saw earlier. But to the line, here comes Ben Skinner. Where's he going to put himself on the grid? It is going to be P10. So a slight improvement from P14 as Bobby Vakanov slots into that position. Michael Falkenhayn was improving, but must have made a mistake in that final corner. Helps to go into the pit lane, along with his teammate Samil Slavev. And that's a relatively decent way to end a lap. Here's a more encouraging lap from a Venus Motorsports car. 9 tenths down in the first sector, 7 tenths down in the second sector, and maybe this could get them a little bit higher on the grid with this lap as Caitlin Penny comes through the final corner. And to the line, let's see where she'll end up on the grid this time with this lap, and is unable to improve her position.
Yes, Joe Gillette on a lap right now. It hasn't been the best of starts to the season for Venus Motorsports. They are struggling to get a foothold in the championship points-wise. They are, I want to say, the only... No, ST Racing also have yet to score as well, but both those two teams yet to put a point on the board. So hopefully this round is the one that changes that. Gillette coming through that final sector towards the final corner now. Famously, this is where Hamilton and Verstappen crashed into each other 4 years ago now. Can you believe that, by the way, that 2021 was 4 years ago? I certainly cannot. But Gillette coming towards the start-finish line now. Crosses it, goes 19th for Hunter Birch. Gillette has shown flashes of speed, but unfortunately for him, unable to improve too much, only to P19. Who's on a fast lap? Let's have a quick look. Tice Youngstring, 13th, is done 2 personal bests and is going to complete this lap. So this will, unless he's got enough fuel to do in the lap, that'll be his final lap. He doesn't improve, so I wonder if he's able to do one more flying lap with the fuel load he has. He may well be able to, but Tice absolutely able to fight it out at the front. Seen that this season as well, and was unfortunate not to take a little bit of a better result. Was it the last round or was it Turkey where he had a reverse grid sort of pole position and then was unable to capitalise? Here's Julian Klaffenberg, who is a new name to Formula Sprint 2, I believe, at least this season. And Julian coming through in 4th place currently. So quite a good opening salvo for him.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Thijs Jongstra last time around in Suzuka had the reverse grid pole, and then a series of what I would describe as unfortunate accidents pushed him further and further down the grid throughout the race. This isn't looking like a great lap for Kaffenberg, who was only 0.05 of a second down in the first sector, but hasn't had the greatest of second sectors as we cut away to Magnus Ockenhaug, who's only 1.5 tenths of a second down in the first sector, and navigating now through the second sector onto the straight, heading towards the Sector 2 split line. This will give us a nice little idea of where Ockenhaug could potentially end up with his current lap as we head towards that Sector 2 line. There it is, and we cross it, and it's only 3 tenths down for Magnus Ockenhaug. In total, that's putting him on pace for a slight improvement, maybe a few positions up, maybe P8, displacing James Knox here as we head to the final corner, into the braking zone for Magnus Ockenhaug through the final corner now, and nice and clean, nice and tidy to the line. What's it going to be for Magnus Ockenhaug on taking the shortest line to the line? It's an improvement to P10, swapping around with Ben Skinner at the end. Kuritz and Singh haven't been able to improve. Lopez did improve his lap time, but didn't improve his position, setting the fastest final sector on his lap, but wasn't able to make any use of it as Tuamala crosses the line, improves to P11 from P15, and that's a nice starting boost. And we just have, I think, 1 or 2 more drivers, Bobby Vakanov and Victor Bernat, out on track. In fact, no, I shouldn't discount Falkenhayn, who's out on track currently.
Yeah, and Bobby Vakunov unable to trouble the top. I think Falkenhayn is, firmly in the pits. Shows how good Casper's flying lap was to be in that 0.6 region, a substantial amount, really, considering the tightness of the grid so far this season. To be over a tenth faster than Sandeep Singh and Lopez and Klaffenberg is very impressive indeed. But good job from Klaffenberg. We haven't seen him in GPVWC since 2023, and the Austrian coming back to help out at Reading Game. So welcome back, Julian. He did 2 rounds for TCS off in 2023 with a best result of 5th at Abu Dhabi. So let's see what he can do here at Jeddah. Vakunov is not going to trouble the timesheets at all on this lap. I think he started his lap after it finished, so Vakunov delaying the session. But these are the results. So Kasper Kuritz, 51.6, takes pole position. Sandeep Singh, 2nd with a 51.7. Junior Lopez, former championship leader before Suzuka, in 3rd. Klaffenberg, 4th. Omari Watson, P5 for Orbit. P6 goes to David De Vree for VMS Sun Edits. Mikhail Falkenhayn in 7th position with James Knox 8th. Eunice Carrala 9th and Magnus Ockenhaug 10th place. 11th goes to Mikhail Tuamala. Ben Skinner in 12th. Domenico Scapelli in 13th position with Kurt Roltiav in 14th and Thijs Jongstra in 15th position. Shimon Kanda in 16th with Bobby Vakunov in 17th. Lucas Mono in 18th with Christian Glamster. I haven't practiced this one. Debuting for Academy in 19th. Sorry, Christian. I'll get there. Joe Gillette. The best he could get was 20th. 21st, Craig Patterson. Samu Islavev in 22nd. Jörn Dix in 23rd with Johannes Lepit in 24th position. Victor Bernat in 25th, also joining at GPVWC Academy. Mihailo Vicentievich, 26th position. Josh Flynn, 27th. Justin Bader-Smithson in 28th position. Caitlin Penny, 29th. Mano Manikandan, 30th. And then finally, Alice Stone, 31st. unable to set a really representative lap, and Demir Karatko final position on the grid.
Well, Toby, it's warm up.
Are you warmed up?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But
I feel you.
that's not what we're here for in warm up, is it? That's not really what we want to do. It's warm up. We want to talk about something. What's the topic today?
Oh, I don't know. We can't ask AI for a subject to talk about. AI's literally taking over everything, and I think we should avoid it where possible. It's
That's rich coming from you.
Excuse me. I don't know what you're referring to. Speaking of the articles on the website, if you do want to have a little look, go to gpvwc.com and have a look at the articles. I do obviously have some help from ChatGPT to help write them and stick my own words in and around that. We've got to get the content out there. It's something that's been missing for the last couple of seasons. So, yeah, it's been fun so far, writing the articles and getting ChatGPT to summarise the events of the race and so on. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Nice to be writing stuff again. I'm not necessarily the best writer in the world, though, Alex.
No.
I tend to smudge the ink.
Are you left-handed?
No. I'm just an idiot.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
I've never met anyone more right-handed than my daughter. She's 4 years old and she uses her right foot and her right hand for everything. It's funny. Kids are supposed to be ambidextrous, right? But she defo is not.
Does she walk on one leg?
No. But everything else. I had to. I've recently renovated my. I guess you can call it a man cave in my attic. My attic room, anyway, basically. And spruced it up a bit. And I had my daughter having a go on the computer the other day for the first time, and it took her about 10 minutes to stop poking the screen to try and make things do things. It was funny because kids obviously are so used to like touch screens and watching people on their phone and that sort of thing, and when she's at her mother's, like, she's got a tablet that she uses and that sort of thing, so she was poking away at my monitor to try and make it do stuff, and then after about 15 minutes she started using the mouse, and I reckon by the end of the summer I'll probably have her playing Warzone. Now that Verdansk is back, I mean, you know, I need someone to play with in duos.
Wait, it's back?
Yes, it's back.
Oh, this is news to me. This is complete news to me.
Oh, Alex, they've completely changed Warzone now. So they are like, they've took all of the stuff off that made it rubbish and brought it back to like how it was in early 2020. It's so good.
Okay.
It literally feels like 2020 again.
Yeah, I've got to get into that.
Yeah, give it time. It's only like 150 gigabytes. I don't know
that's
what they're doing.
nothing.
I don't know what they're doing. Like it, how can it be that many gigabytes? Honestly.
Yeah. Oh,
Can the commentators talk about GeoGrid? We could play live GeoGrid. I've not played it today. Okay, ends with the letter A, top 20 in oil production. USA is the obvious one there.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But that's like top 5, surely.
That'll be like right up there, won't it? Wonder if Armenia's in there. Armenia. Guess. Oh no. And that's my only life gone. I'm gonna have to put USA in. United States of America. Epic 9%. Not bad. Has hosted the men's FIFA World Cup, top 20 in oil production.
The men's FIFA World Cup and top 20 in oil production.
Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I got nothing. Russia?
Ooh, Russia's a decent shout. What about Qatar?
That doesn't end with A, does it?
No, has hosted the men's FIFA World Cup and top 20 in oil production.
Oh. I thought you said it
Qatar.
ended with an A.
No, that was the first one, which was keep up. United
Oh.
States of America
Oh,
was that
God.
one. This one's FIFA World Qatar, right? I'm putting Qatar in. Oh dear, common 48.9%. CO2 emissions per capita over. I don't even know what that means, but presumably lots. And then top 20 in oil production. I mean, anyone, right?
Yeah. Anyone.
Anyone. You're not being very.
Saudi
not being very
Arabia
helpful.
is like the obvious answer, right?
Well, it's going in. Saudi Arabia. Rare, 17.8. Not bad. Corruption
Rare.
index. Corruption index over 60. That means it's okay, right? And has hosted the FIFA World Cup. Well, Sweden. That was only a rare flag with only 3 colours and has hosted the men's FIFA World Cup.
Only 3 colors.
Oh, Chile has done it ages ago, hasn't it? And that's got 3.
Sure,
You're not very helpful. That was decent. 8.5 epic. Corruption index over 60. CO2 emissions per capita over thing. So a nice country that also uses a lot of energy. Taiwan?
I feel like that's probably more corrupt, right?
I don't know, man. Shall I lob it in? Shall we YOLO it?
Yeah, go for it. Try it. See what happens.
Oh, has Taiwan only got 3 colours as well?
I don't actually know what the flag of Taiwan looks like. Hold on. Yeah, it's got red,
Oh,
blue, and white.
that's going in the bottom one then. Oh, legendary 2.9.
Oh,
get
hell
in.
yeah.
Right, okay, so CO2 emissions per capita and corruption's index over 60. So, a new country basically, but that's a decent one. We've got 2 minutes to complete this.
Sorry, I ignored the question.
CO2 emissions per capita is lots, and
Yes.
it's a nice country to live in. What do you think, like Luxembourg or something?
Would Luxembourg have high CO2 though? Because they just import everything, right? Is that counted?
But they're so small, and it's all like people who live there are all businesses, right?
I guess.
And
What about-
I bet it's a nice country to live in. Go on, give me one.
No, I was gonna say France, but that's wrong. They're very, very clean energy.
Yeah.
Japan, maybe?
I mean, we could try Japan, yeah. Let me
could.
put Japan in. Yeah, let me put Japan in. Yeah, rare 10%. Ends with the letter A. Corruption perceptions index over 60. Now we're getting into tricky ones. Can't think of a single one.
We'd have to get lucky
Australia.
with like one of the Balkans. Okay.
Australia. Balkans. Well, like Albania or something.
That's got to be. Albania's got to be corrupt, right? What about Malta?
Ooh. Ooh. Is it okay though? Do you want to try like a Balkan country? Which is the
We
least
can.
offensive one? Croatia or like Slovenia maybe?
Let's go with Croatia. Let's see what happens.
Okay, Croatia's going in. Croatia. No! I've only got one guess left and I'm going to run out of points. Okay. Ends with letter A, flag with only 3 colours. I mean, is Croatia
Malaysia?
not one? Ooh, Malaysia. Is that no? That's got yellow in it. Yellow, blue, red, and white.
Is it?
It's, yeah, yellow on the blue, isn't it?
All right then, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Fine by me. Oh no. Okay, I was going to say North Korea. But yeah, Costa Rica's a great shout. Legendary 1.5. Unfortunately, though, we missed one because we didn't get the Balkan country in there. That's sad.
That's sad.
Oh, someone said Estonia. That would have been a good one.
That would, yeah.
Yes, we were doing GeoGrid. Well, there we go. That was warm It's like listening to old people play bingo or crosswords, said David Yunt.
See, bingo's... This competitive bingo, that's a real thing.
Competitive bingo.
Competitive bingo, yes.
We could play bingo. I'll read out random numbers and you tell me if you've got them, and then you tick them off on your card, and then at some point you say bingo. Just one player.
This also reminds me that there's a competitive Excel championship.
Good
I don't know if
lord.
you've seen this.
I have.
There's a competitive
Go on,
Excel
tell me.
World Championship. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Is it like Shortcut City though? Because I know there's like hundreds of shortcuts.
Yes.
For example, if you press Windows D on your keyboard, it minimizes all the windows, and then if you press it again, it maximizes them all again.
Interesting.
You
I
actually
would
tried
do
it,
that,
didn't you?
but
No, do it. Hold down Windows and press D, and it just minimizes everything to desktop.
oh,
Do it.
interesting.
Do it.
I think it's like, is it Windows and press like 2, and it brings, oh, if you press Windows and a number, it brings up that number on your, like, well, the app that is that number on your desktop.
If you're on tabs, I think you can go. Wait there. Is it Alt? I can't remember. One of the. Yeah, if you hold down Control, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 1, and it takes you to a different. So it's Control 1, 2, 3, 4, and takes you to that tab on your Explorer window or Edge or whatever, or Firefox or Chrome, whatever.
Oh, that doesn't work for me.
That's sad. It does work for me on Firefox.
But Windows 1 and 2 works fine.
Windows T, new tab. Windows W, close tab.
Windows P, that's a good one.
Is that print?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh,
one
no,
that
it's
most people-
project. No, Control P is print. Windows P is
Ooh.
project.
You can
Oh,
also
look, you
press-
can move your screens around with that.
You can press Control Shift and Escape at the same time to get Task Manager.
Oh,
No.
Fabian's just said, "Wake up! There's a race." That's sad.
I just gave everyone a really great shortcut, though. That's a Control Shift Escape. Remember it.
If anyone did any better than us at GeoGrid, well done. By the way, we scored 212 today, which actually would have been a really good score without the without them. If we'd have got a decent final block, but we lost unfortunately on that block. So
Yeah.
that
But
Costa Rica pick, dude. What a legendary
that was
1.5. Yeah,
That was a good one.
twas. Right, here we go then. It's your turn to read the grid out.
It is potentially my turn.
No,
I would
it
agree
is
with that.
definitely your turn.
No, it
Is
could
that-
be. It could be
No,
my turn.
potentially, duty.
I mean, if I
It's
don't do
defo.
it, you have to do it. So I could just sit here in silence, and you'd be like,
You won't though.
you could
You'll
have
be
just let
sad.
it. You can just let it not be there and not have the grid show. Anyway,
Okay.
okay. It's the grid. Casper Kretz lines up on pole with Sandeep Singh behind him. Yunho Lopez lines up third, and Julian Kaffenberg on his return lines up P4. Amari Watson, currently second in the championship, lines up P5 with David DeVries behind him. Michael Falkenhayn and Eunice Corolla 7th and 8th respectively. James Knox P9 with Magnus Hockenhaug top of the top 10 drivers. currently in P10. Mikel Tuamala at P11 and Ben Skinner P12. Domenico Scarpelli was P13 with Kurt Rochov behind him, and Thijs Jongstra starts 15th with Simon Kanda lining up 16th. Bobby Lakanov is 17th with the first Academy car of Christian Lamsetter behind him in 18th. George Lett 19th and Craig Patterson P20. Ian Dix and Lucas Murner, the two Blue Horns Racing 21st and 22nd, with Hans Lepitt and Victor Bernat 23rd and 24th. Mihajlo Vicentijevic in 25th with Josh Flynn in 26th behind him. Van der Smissen, not a great qualifying, down in P27 with Mana Kandan P28. Samil Slavev lines up 29th. Caitlin Penny starts in P30 with Demi Kratko last on the grid, as I believe it was Alice Stone, who will not be starting the race after a not so encouraging, I would say, almost 10 seconds off the pace in qualifying. So I would say that's a pretty wise decision.
It's a it's a very high skill track, this one, to be precise and get it right, and it's one of those you have to prep extensively for, and you just definitely can't turn up and race. So if you feel that you can't compete, it's absolutely fine to say, do you know what, guys, I'm going to give this one sit this one out, and it'll be safer that way. So well done to Alice for that. Leaves Caitlin Penny as the penultimate car on the grid, and see what Caitlin can do from there.
Yeah, they almost scored points last time around in Suzuka, beaten out by a matter of meters to the line by, I believe it was James Knox, who had an incident at 130R on the last lap, as Mana Kandan needs to, I'd say, calm down, getting close to the grid there. But the last car is on the grid, and we're about to watch a race.
We are. You can see the lights on the top of your screen, the top right. It's Kasper Koritz on the left, Sandeep Singh on the right. And away we go. Singh got a great launch there. A really, really good start for him. And he's going to be alongside as they head down into turn one for the first time. Koritz trying to hang it around the outside. They're still side by side through the exit. Koritz leaves enough room. Sandeep's going to take this and moves into the lead of the race. Further back, we're looking at Ockenhau going side by side into turn three. It's a little bit dangerous through here. Patterson further back as well. But they all got through relatively cleanly. This is a dangerous part of the track on the opening laps, especially with the dirty air on the opening lap being so high. But great start from Singh off the grid and moves himself straight into the lead of the race.
Yeah, that was an amazing start for Sandeep Singh. As someone's off at the back, someone's into the wall, and it is Mana Kandan loses his front wing. And Kasper Koritz has fallen down as well, down to P4.
Yeah, Singh's gone. Yeah, Singh's gone, and Koritz, they must have had contact. And I'd love to see a replay on that one. Singh is right down the field. I can't even see him on the timing screen. So something happened right at the front of the field. There is Singh, 25th. What on earth happened there? Because Singh was leading. It must have been Koritz trying to make a move. And Sandeep Singh coming off worse. Koritz down to P4. And presumably there was contact between the pair, but excitement on the first lap already.
Yeah, and like we were saying before the race, there's bound to be incidents here, thanks to the sort of lack of overtaking opportunities. Jürgen Dix as well has spun around and is met by Mana Kandan. He is free wide with Scarpelli, and I think that's Thijs Jongstra. Kurt Rochov on the inside of Scarpelli takes a little bit of contact. Skinner beaten out by his teammate for now as we head onto the main straight. Look at this massive train of cars. There's 5 cars all serpentining behind each other, and we're going to get another free wide situation here into turn 1. Scarpelli on the outside, Skinner in the middle, and Jongstra on the outside now, as Ben Skinner seems to be the driver who's been able to capitalize on that situation, but Scarpelli has the better exit here. approaching turn 3, but decides better of it. But has another RNG car down the inside, and Rochov stuck his nose in there, but just wasn't able to sort of try and force Youngster out of the way, and Rochov sideways through turn 6. And this leaves him vulnerable now to that is Joe Gillette, who's had a decent start here to get up to P14.
Yeah, trying to hang it round the outside is Gillette. There can be some more grip up the outside. It's almost like an oval through there, but Rochov did great to hang on to that car. It looked like for sure it was destined for the barriers. He must have been full lock. I'd love to see what happened on lap 1 between Singh and Kuritz if we can, Fabian. So he's just going to queue up the replay for us as Gillette motors on through the 3rd sector. Falkenhayn here making a move and passing Yunus Kerala. They were certainly squabbling one way or another. So Falkenhayn through and up into P7, and further forwards then Junior Lopez leads this race after the 2 leaders took each other out. Klaffenberg is right there with him as well, just 7/10 back. So it's a lot more action for a race 1 that we have seen so far this season. And yeah, it's going to be a long old race from here.
Yeah, and Caitlin Penny and Simon Kander as well, retiring on just the 2nd lap. And that's just not ideal, as Chuamala here into the 1st corner on the inside of Falkenhayn. Isn't able to get the better braking, but Ockenhaug tries to make a move. Joe Gillette on the inside of this situation. Was pretty wide into turn 1, but the drivers seem to have thought better of it. Moves up to maintains P15, I should say, as he continues to attack Bobby Vakanov in that hot performance racing car. And behind him there's a nice little squabble as well going on with Craig Patterson and the academy driver of Christian Glamsetter. So that's a nice bit of racing going on. We've got a couple of groups of side-by-side action of hard racing through the S's as Manaman Kandan comes out of the pit lane. Josh Lynn and Samil Slavev had to pit as well. There's quite a few drivers who are distant from the leaders already, amongst them Lucas Murno as well, down in P26.
Yeah, here we go as Slavev cuts the pit exit. That's not fun. Right, what happened to our leaders then? So it was Kuritz on the outside trying to make a move on Singh. Singh has just lost it all by himself. And yeah, I mean, obviously he came off worse, but he definitely harmed Kuritz in the process as well. So uncharacteristic from Singh. I was sure it was the other way round of some kind. Kuritz making a move, but Singh just lost it, or lost the back end all by himself, and compromised Kuritz as a result. So yeah, I mean, it's not ideal at all for either of them, but Kuritz definitely benefiting more, or rather not losing out as much, and that was contact there between Dix and one of the academy cars. I couldn't quite tell you which one that was. And then finally we're going to watch Shimon Kando under Kander and Penny. Oh, side-by-side contact. Oh, plucked the wheel off. That's fun. And what happened to Caitlin Penny then? Because I thought maybe those two had come together. Kando, obviously nothing he could do. He was off the track. And then Penny as we go through Sector 1 then. Oh, there's going to be some stuff happening. Oh, dear.
Yep, that's a car. That's messy. That is messy.
I feel like Caitlin, after that initial contact, that wasn't her fault, of course, perhaps could have held the brakes there and instead came back onto the racing track and caused a mini pile-up. So the initial contact, definitely not Caitlin's fault. But at that point, I think she could have held the brakes and stopped herself coming back across the track. So, yeah, not good so far. But here's Klaffenberg on board. Only 6/10 back of Lopez. And, of course, the Klaffenberg's first race since 2023. Let's see what Julian can do. It says Brody Lawless on the Halo, of course, but Brody missing a few rounds through a temporary suspension. But Klaffenberg right there with Lopez, and they've gapped to Murray Watson, actually, haven't they?
Yeah, Murray Watson's got a nice, just well, I shouldn't say Omari Watson's got a nice, but Klaffenberg and Lopez have got a nice buffer of about 2 seconds behind them. And here's James Knox attempting to pass the outside of David de Vries. But de Vries just got the better braking into the final corner, but Knox has the better exit now onto the main straight as de Vries pulls into the slipstream, and here's the battle for the lead. Klaffenberg on the outside, Lopez on the inside. Nicely defended by Lopez. Klaffenberg not able to make a move that time around. Falkenhayn gets overtaken by Ockenhaug. Klaffenberg looks at the inside into turn 3, but is unable to make a move there. And that's going to be this battle pacified for now. This is a bit of action further back as Van der Smissen passes Jörn Dix, and Victor Bernat falls back a little bit as well, battling with Johannes Lapit for P23. But other than that, there's quite a lot of close racing. Scapelli gets past Thijs Jongstra. Skinner and Rochab battling for P14. And in fact, that's Vakanov as well, with a little bit of pressure under him now as Rochab looks to the outside here in the right-hander. Not going to make a move this time around. Skinner looks to get the better exit onto the straight here, but seems to get a similar exit to the other drivers and isn't catching much thanks to that slipstream along the straight. But I think Rochab might have a better chance here than Skinner. Skinner's got, I would say, quite a high downforce setup on because he's pulling in through the corners, but just losing all of that advantage on the straights here.
Yeah, it's showing the different wing levels that people have got, isn't it, more than anything? You can see now Singh, although was heavily compromised, is making his way back through the pack as they go 3 wide into the final corner here. That is going to be some fun on the exit, but they all survive. And good racing from those guys as Klaffenberg makes a move around the outside, takes the lead of the race from Junior Lopez, and the Reading Game driver moving straight past Lopez. And around the outside into turn 1, must have got a really good exit off the final corner.
Yeah, there wasn't much contention there from Lopez, was there? He was on the inside, but it was sort of as if Klaffenberg just drove straight past as Jongstra is side by side, thinks better. No. He doesn't think better, and this contact through turn 3. Ben Skinner, his teammate behind now, has sort of been held up as we go onto the nose cam on board with Kurt Rochab. It's slidey through turn 6 and turn 7, and that's just not ideal. But Rochab heading to the first sector line behind this train of cars, behind this battle of cars, has a look at Ben Skinner trying to get past his teammate. Kurt Rochab's just sliding through these corners. I would say he's drifting more than he is driving, but I think Skinner here is going to try and get past his teammate for P13 and potentially try and attack Bobby Vakanov. But like I said, that straight line speed advantage is not there for Ben Skinner. He has the pace in the corners, but Kurt Rochab to the outside into turn 10 and turn 11. Wait, this is not turn 10 and 11. I think that's ages ago that happened.
I like that. Good effort.
I forgot.
It's like 22-ish. We're coming towards the final corner, right?
So many corners on this track that aren't corners.
This is technically 26 and 27 we're heading into now, which is crazy. But yeah, so Thijs Jongstra then, right on the back, literally, of Vakuanov, and trying to make a move down into the first corner, and they're going to go 3 wide as they turn into the first corner. The 2 RNGs on the outside, and they're all going to get through. Okay, Thijs Jongstra makes the Ben Skinner, that was making the move. This is Thijs Jongstra we're watching. So Ben Skinner making the move through. And now Jongstra side by side with Rotiav, who does make the move, and Jongstra this lap decides to back out of that rather than trying to run side by side. It was tight last lap, and I think Jongstra probably got a bit of a wake-up call there and wisely backed out a bit this time around. I'm watching that gap at the lead. It's not extended, so Lopez is still well within it, as these guys are running the track limits quite heavily through the exit there, and they need to be careful they don't pick up any drive-through penalties. We saw that a lot at Australia, didn't we?
Yeah, there's a lot of penalties in Australia. It sort of skewed the racing a little bit because it was Kasper Kuritz, in fact, who got a drive-through penalty late into the race, and that was a huge moment in race 2 at Australia. But going wide at the corners, we saw about 3 different drivers go wide in one corner. So that's just showing how much those drivers are trying to use those limits as Ljungstra recovers P14 from Kurt Rochab. But Ljungstra has fallen back from his teammate, who was just slightly ahead as Rochab on the slipstream moves out to the outside now as we head into the final actual corner of the track. Lopez here, side by side with Kaffenberg. That gap has disappeared for the Reading Game driver, and that is not ideal. Lopez right on the rear diffuser of that Reading Game Studios car, and through the first sector, we'll just fill up those mirrors now into the left-hander, and we'll just have to tuck in for the right-hander. But Kasper Kuritz behind as well, quite close to Omari Watson. So Kuritz could potentially recover here onto a podium position if he is able to get past the Orbit Motorsports car. And there's still 5 laps to go for Kuritz as well, if he's able to get past Omari Watson, if he has the pace to do so. And it looks like he does. Currently fastest driver on track, 52.321 last time around, 2/10 quicker than Kaffenbach, our leader. So yeah, Kuritz has got a nice bit of pace here. It's just that he's stuck behind Omari Watson.
And Lopez has made a couple of mistakes on this lap and has dropped back to what, close to 9/10 now. It was over a second briefly. And although he's still in slipstream range, he doesn't want to lose that because he's in danger, especially if Kuritz gets by Watson, of dropping back past Kuritz as well. As you say, 5 laps left in this race, plenty of time. They're running the limits right on the edge there. 2 wheels on the curb is the prescribed track limits in GPVWC. It was going to be 2 wheels in the white lines, but we've reverted back to 2 wheels on the curb. In a track like this, it means you can significantly cut the corners compared to other series. It's still legal though here. Lopez though, a decent final sector, 8/10 back. Kuritz not able to keep up with Watson either through the fast sweepers. That dirty air that you get when you get too close can actually harm your momentum, can't it? And it means that you can't really stay right on the gearbox of someone in those fast sweepers.
Yeah, you sort of have to get a slingshot really of having more pace by not having dirty air, as Rochav again attacks Thijs Ljungstra, this time for P15, and Sandeep Singh has recovered to P14 already, getting past both of these drivers, 2 wide further back with Glamsetter and Joe Gillette. Gillette has fallen back quite a while from that points cutoff. I mean, 3 cars ahead of him, but you know, he was P15 at some point.
Yeah, and I think that's important for Singh to be in the points here, because although it was a mistake, obviously, he did cause Kuritz to lose a few positions on the opening lap, and if that was reported, that's an avoidable contact penalty. And of course, if you're in the points, you only get a time penalty, whereas if you're outside the points, you get a grid penalty, and I think that's more harmful to Singh at the next round to have a grid penalty than it would be to have a small time penalty here, especially considering his pace right now. I think he would it'd still grab a point or two, and even if he doesn't, it's only a point or two lost. So it's important for him to be in the points, I think, in my opinion. But as you say, Joe Gillette made lots of positions. Oh, he's in the wall. That's going to harm his momentum, if nothing else. Hopefully he doesn't have too much damage. As soon as you get a lot of suspension damage in these cars, it can send you into a downward spiral, and you lose more and more pace and make more and more mistakes, and it's you get gobbled up by the opposition.
Yeah, and if you look at the front, Klaffenberg has made a nice cushion between himself and Junior Lopez. In fact, sets the fastest lap time by a long while, was 4/10 quicker than Omari Watson that time around, with 5/10 quicker than Kasper Kuritz, and Joe Gillette once again sideways.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Sorry,
was,
Alex. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. So he's made some contact with the wall earlier in the lap, and now coming into the final corner, obviously in that little squabble. But yeah, it's much harder to control a car with damage.
Yeah, it is probably the worst kind of damage to get, suspension damage, because there's no pit stops to kind of repair it. And if you go into the pits, you're losing a lot of time that other drivers aren't going to lose, and you're just losing time no matter what you do with suspension damage. That's the issue, or not issue, but the problem with the sprint format is that if you get damaged, you're sort of in an unrecoverable position at that point where you can't really repair it reasonably unless you have some kind of alien pace where you're 2 seconds a lap quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, I have to say, I think Klaffenberg probably has this one sewn up at this point. He's just done the fastest lap of the race, 52.1. As you say, significantly quicker. And it just shows that once you get some clean air and you haven't got the pressure behind you, if you're able to get the hammer down, you can really put it down in these cars. And we're not that far off qualifying pace, showing that the tyre wear isn't too bad at all either. It's all about fuel level. Makes me wonder why they don't do more 2-lap runs in qualifying, to be brutally honest with you. But Klaffenberg has sailed away from Junior Lopez over the last couple of laps, and Lopez is going to take his medicine, and 52.0. This is very, very impressive from Klaffenberg, absolutely smashing the opposition in FS2 on his return. So well done to Julian. But yeah, Lopez now 1.6 back. It's game over, isn't it, with 3 laps remaining?
Yeah, this is sort of a nail in the coffin as that gap continues to get larger. Sandeep Singh moves up to P13 and gets past Ben Skinner. And it's a good push here by Sandeep Singh. Very, very, I would say, opportunistic, because this penalty at this point would push him outside of the points, because it would be a 5 seconds at the bare minimum for Sandeep Singh if it's reported.
I was going to say, I should clarify, that's just my reading. I mean, I'm not a member of the disciplinary committee at all. It's just my reading on the events of the race. You know, he lost the back end and caused Koretz to lose some positions. So it's a big caveat. You know, it's up to Koretz to decide what he does with that. It's not a guaranteed penalty by any stretch of the imagination. And even then, the stewards might view it as just a racing incident. So, but just from what I saw, he could have a case to answer. But yes, to just clarify, he's not actually getting a penalty right now. Klaffenberg has! He's just got a drive-through for track limits, and Klaffenberg has thrown away a victory, a certain win, by extending too much with the track limits, and now he's going to have to suffer a drive-through penalty to clear that. And here is what happened to Klaffenberg. Coming through the fast sweeper, he lost the back end, and he's done for. Drive-through penalty for Julian Klaffenberg. What has he done?
It's just a horrible way to throw away a race with 2 laps remaining. Casper Koretz as well, fighting Omari Watson into the first corner. I didn't see that they were side by side. Casper Koretz got that move done into turn 1. Here's Jonas Corolla on the inside of Michael Skromala. There's a bit of contact. Not the cleanest of racing going on here. But as they approach turn 3, Klaffenberg with the penalty. Lopez has been gifted a win at this point, because Klaffenberg has to come in before the final lap. Lopez only has to drive around at a leisurely pace and doesn't have to worry about Casper Koretz. Well,
Klaffenberg did do a very, very big lift. I've just watched it back again. After he cut the track, he could potentially ask the live steward, race director, Chris Williamson. He could say, "Can you remove my drive-through? I'll fight it out after the race." It's tricky because we had some drivers did that at Australia in Super League, and they obviously proved that they had lifted in those moments, and their penalties were cleared, and they didn't get penalties after the race. But that was a big one for me from Klaffenberg. It wasn't even just like a minor thing. He completely cut the track, but because he got sideways obviously the big lift was to try and avoid the in-game penalty being applied, but you have to lift more than that. That's what the in-game penalties are there for. So very interesting to see what happens if Klaffenberg has messaged Chris to get his penalty removed. Does that mean that he's going to complete the race and finish in P1, or is he going to duck into the pits? We'll see what's happened.
Yeah, apparently it's been removed. I don't know how much I trust that. But here's Kerala once more trying to attack Tuamala on the last lap. And look at the gap Casper Kurtz has made between himself and Omar Watson. Kerala to the inside and quite late on the brakes. Just a clean move on the Cap Clay car. Moves up to P7 on the final lap. David de Vries has just remained constant in that P6 position. It must be said, it's a good race for him. And yes, okay, the drive-through penalty has been removed. So that's good news for Reading Game. That is great news for Reading Game.
Well, it's been removed because he's asked it to be removed. It doesn't mean to say he won't get a post-race penalty necessarily, because it will still be reviewed by the disciplinary committee. So he'll take the victory on track, but it's a post-race drama, and we won't find out really for a week or so. But obviously, people aren't doing this full-time as a job like they are in the FIA or whatever. So, yeah, Klaffenberg will take the victory on track. He has to be careful that he doesn't extend anymore, because it won't help his case. But he will take the victory. I think it's probably a deserved victory looking at the margin of pace he had over Lopez. But nevertheless, Klaffenberg taking the victory. He'd do well to give up some more time as he comes towards the line, to be brutally honest with you, and just solidify that. But Klaffenberg then taking a victory for RGS. He returns to GPVWC as a race winner in Formula Sprint 2. Congratulations, Julian. Lopez taking P2 and thinking more championship, you would say. Casper Koritz in P3 over Amari Watson. And I don't know when that happened, by the way. I wasn't too busy focused on the penalty. But Sandeep Singh here, side by side towards the line, doesn't get by Bobby Vakuinov for 11th. So Singh has to settle. Singh has to settle for 12th. Skinner 13th, Scapelli 14th, Kurt Rotov in 15th in the final point scorer. Driver of that race, David de Vries in P6, gotta be. Great result for him. Carrala 7th, Tuamala 8th, Falkenhayn 9th, and Ockenhaug 10th. I think I didn't mention James Mox either. P5, quiet race for him. Good job.
Yeah, Kurtz remains winless here. Do you want to do the results, Toby?
No, you can.
I'll
do the grid next time. I'll do the grid.
And you do the results as well. Julian Klaffenberg takes the win temporarily. It could be reversed. The decision could be reversed, but Junio Lopez lines up in second and bursts in line to take that position. Casper Kurtz still winless in P3. Omari Watson 4th. James Knox and David de Vries 5th and 6th. Quiet races for them. Eunice Kerala 7th. Last lap overtake on Mikael Tuamala, who's P8. Falkenhayn lines up P9 with Magnus Ockenhaug in P10. Bobby Makinov in the most unlucky reverse grid position of P11. Sandeep Singh 12th, Ben Skinner 13th, and Scarpelli lines up, finishes 14th, doesn't line up anywhere. Kurt Rotov, last of the points finishers for Excellium Motorsports in 15th with Christian Glamsetter, Thijs Jungstra, Craig Patterson, Damik Ratko, and Jörn Dix, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. 21st is Joe Gillette with Justin Van der Smissen behind him. Johannes Lepit and Mihailo Vicentievich, 23rd and 24th. Lucas Murno finishes in 25th with Manaman Kandan behind him, 26th. Semil Slavev was 27th, Josh Flynn 28th, and the retirements were Victor Bernat, Caitlin Penny, and Simon Kanda.
Right, we're going to take a very, very short break while the session moves to the next one. As soon as that is done, we will be back for warm-up 2. We're not playing another game, we'll have to talk. I wouldn't dare. Oh, hello, welcome back. It is warm up for the second race of round 4. We are at Jeddah. It's Formula Sprint 2, it's 2025. And it's nice to be saying that reverse grid is back for race 2 again. And what is the guess for reverse grid pole?
I'm feeling a P15 today. I think that would be most interesting, is to have a complete reversal of the top 15.
It was quite chaotic, race 1, considering the race 1s we've had so far this season. I personally would like to see something like a P11. Well, I would like to see a P11, obviously, so that Alex doesn't have to mention it again. Sadly, I don't.
It will be mentioned again.
It's always mentioned. I think
Every
Sandy
race.
will probably.
It's 12. It's 12.
It's 12th. Okay, so that means that Sandeep Singh is on pole. So he, very recoverable round for him, considering what happened to him in race 1. I think actually I'd argue that this is almost, better. It pretty much guarantees him a race win in race 2, considering the pace he showed in race 1. It means that he doesn't have anyone to overtake. He can just run away at the front. So good for Singh.
Yeah, that's almost perfect for Singh, really, because he's a front-running driver getting put right at the front of the race from the get-go in race 2, and it's the responsibility of the cars behind him to chase after him. So yeah, this is going to be a good race for Singh. This is a great starting position, and I wouldn't say spinning out in race 1 was tactical, but this is a good sort of resurgence, a good second chance for Singh here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see what Klaffenberg can do from P12 now on the reverse grid. Koritz then will have extended his championship lead. Menno very kindly has sent us a link to a document he's just updated for us, so thank you, Menno. And Koritz leads by 8 points now from Amari Watson, and 15 from Lopez, 16 from Singh. Those 4 kind of away at the front of the field. Ben Skinner in P5 has got that race victory from Japan race 2, but only P13 here, doesn't get in the reverse grid either. So it's going to be a battle for him to get any decent points this evening. It's obviously we're talking about championship standings. It's early days in the season. We can start talking about it in earnest about who might be able to do something in the summer, I guess, around sort of Canada, Silverstone. We've got some good tracks coming up actually this season. If we can bring up the calendar, that would be great.
Nudge, nudge.
Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Fabian, are you there? You just said no. Can we bring the calendar up? Calendar, yes. Feeling dank. There we go. So, if we're in the summer, Canada?
Canada, yes.
Canada and British Grand Prix, that sort of area, especially when we get to a halfway point, we can really do a review on who is doing what. We've got a couple of rounds now, and then, so after today, we've got Spanish Grand Prix and the US Grand Prix, and then we've got a nice little 4-week break to the Canada round.
Canada.
Yeah, which will be considered the spring break, which is, for me, interesting. I feel like summer starts earlier than the 21st of June. That's when it officially starts. I think that's nonsense.
Yeah, no, that's just a complete lie.
Officially that's when it starts.
Yeah,
just like it's winter until the 21st of March, which is also nonsense. That's spring. I personally think winter should start on the 21st of November and finish on the 21st of February. And then 21st of March is when summer starts. It's 21st of June is like the longest day of the year. How is that not summer?
Is it the longest day of the year?
Mm-hmm. Sunlight-wise.
Longest of the year.
Why are you arguing with me? It's
You're
the
correct.
summer equinox.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I'm
21st of June.
surprised.
Yeah, you get in the UK, especially further north, you get ridiculous hours of sunlight. It's like the sun sets at 10 p.m. in the north of England, and it's popping its head up at like 4:30 in the morning. Beautiful. Of course, vice versa in the winter. It sets at like 4 and rises at like 9 a.m., which is a joke, by the way. I hate winter. Winter is the worst time of year by a long way. There's no F1.
No.
There's no F1. Like, it's dark all the time. It's wet and cold in the UK all the time. I mean, it's cold.
Autumn is absolutely the worst season.
I think autumn is slightly better than winter, only because of the things that are happening in autumn. You've got Halloween, you've got like bonfire night, and then like Christmas build up. I don't mind those things as much as I hate proper winter. From like mid-December until early February, it's just rubbish, isn't it? Like dark all the time. Yeah. Especially if you work like 9 till 5 though, Alex. Like you leave in the dark and you get home in the dark, and it's just nah. This is the best time of the year.
What, right now?
Oh, from here until end of August, yeah. For surezies.
That's a big range. That's almost 2 seasons.
No, it isn't.
Almost 3 seasons. Yes, it is.
No, almost 3 seasons. What do you mean?
Yes.
No. It's 4 months. It's literally the length of 1 season. It crosses over 2. But yeah. Like from now until the end of August, that's where Toby's are at his happiest, like. Go for a nice little stroll after work to a beer garden.
What kind of outfit is the weather right now? Is it it's not a shorts and t-shirt.
Right now it's umbrella and wellies, like it's completely pouring down. That's something else.
Let's say what it was on Friday.
On Friday it was I had a barbecue this weekend, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, had my mate Chris Butcher come down, say hello. That was nice, and see my parents as well. Had a big barbecue, cooked some steaks, cooked some sausages, some peppers that no one ate.
That's usually how it goes.
I know, yeah. I don't know why anyone bothers with the veggie stuff. Apologies.
Yeah.
But but if you're cooking meat at a barbecue and you eat meat, that's what you eat at a barbecue. You cook like the onions and the peppers and all the rest of it, and everyone's like, "Yeah, now I'll have a kebab, please."
Yeah. Which also have peppers on them that rarely get eaten.
Yes, but yeah, it's all about the burgers and the sausages. I think at a proper BBQ. Is it me on grids?
Yeah. You said you'd do the grid, so yes.
Okay.
Because that's the result.
Fine by me.
And the grid.
We've got Sandeep Singh on provisional pole. He's on the left-hand side of the screen for Potentia. Bobby Vakuanov on the right. Provisional? I don't know why I said that.
Can
pole
it change?
Position. Yes. Leave me alone. P12 was reverse grid, and therefore it is Sandeep Singh who takes pole position for race 2 here at Jeddah. Alongside him is Bobby Vakuanov for Hood Performance Engineering, Magnus Ockenhaug for Hunter Birch in 3rd, with Mikhail Falkenhayn in 4th. Row 3 is Mikhail Tuamala with Yunus Kerala alongside him, David Afri and James Knox on row 4. Row 5, Amari Watson, Kasper Koritz with Junior Lopez and Kloffenberg in 11th and 12th position on row 6. Now the non-reverse grid runners, Ben Skinner and Domenico Scarpelli on row 7, with row 8, Kurt Rotjav and Christian Glanzster. Thijs Youngstra and Craig Patterson 17th and 18th, with Damir Koratko and Hjörn Dix in 19th and 20th. 21st is Joe Gillette, Justin Vandersmissen in 22nd, Johannes Leppert 23rd, Mihailo Vicentievich in 24th. 25, Lucas Murno, 26th, Manamanakandan, Slavev and Flynn, 27th and 28th. 29th, 30th, and 31st are Victor Burnett, Caitlin Penny, and Shimon Kanda. And that is the grid, with no Alice Stone again.
The hardest part of reading the grid is finding a different way to do each row.
I completely agree. It's an unsaid thing. We've never had that conversation, but I completely agree. It's so tricky, isn't it? Row, position, driving for this driver, saying it the other way around.
Yeah,
13th
and
place,
just
P13.
jumbling those words and
Making it sound natural, yeah. Because if you just go first, sing. It sounds like a video game from '98. First, sing. Second, Vakuanov. Third,
oh, you're reading it like the football result.
Ockenhaug. Fourth, Falkenheim. Fifth,
It's like-
Tuamala. Sixth, Kerala.
Yeah, because like the football results, it's like
Yes.
Manchester
Yeah.
City 0.
Oh, do you know how that's done though? They always rise at the winner. So if they go Manchester City 0, Chelsea 1.
Yes.
But if it's the other way round, it would be Manchester City 0. If it was a draw, it would be Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. So that's a draw. And then if it's Manchester City 5, Chelsea 0. So that's the 3 ways you do it.
You know way too much about this.
No, I mean, just like you, once upon a time, I thought, why are they saying it so randomly? And then I...
No, I know
Yeah.
why they say it so randomly. It's just the roboticness of it. Anyway, car.
Here we go.
Please. Let's go.
3, 4, and thumph. And the lights are out, and Singh once again gets a flying start, just like he did in race 1. This time he will not be challenged into turn 1, and Singh leads us away. Vakuanov challenged there by Magnus Ockenhaug, and side by side they go. Ockenhaug and Tuamala through turn 2. They both survive, and great start by Singh straight away. Takes a commanding lead as they go through 4 and 5. Further back, we're looking at Amari Watson right on the back of James Knox. Ben Skinner and Lopez side by side behind them. And Van der Smissen in P22 has had a bit of an issue at the start of the race and unable to capitalise on his decent starting position. Has dropped down to 22nd position. But Kasper Kuritz up to 10th. And we're looking at further back with Van der Smissen still side by side here. He's actually going to be passed on the outside by one of the Blue Horns cars, and that will be who is that further back? I can't quite tell from the helmet which one it is, but Dix is in front of him, so it's Murno. Yeah, side by side there you go. Looks like a relatively clean start so far. Not quite the antics that we had in the first race, but a great start from Singh off the line once again.
Yeah, rocket ship from the start box there for Sandeep Singh as Kerala battles with James Knox once more. Doesn't battle with James Knox once more, but they're both sideways, and that's very, very similar to what Klaffenberg did at that corner to get the drive-through penalty in race 1 that he didn't serve because it was cancelled. We got a yellow and Sikta free, and I can't tell you who that is or why that is. And if you look further back, Klaffenberg's getting in on a bit of action and gets past Junio Lopez, and his teammate there ahead is Kasper Kuritz fighting with Omari Watson. We've got a train of the leaders of race 1. Kuritz moves to the inside. Klaffenberg moves to the outside. Junio Lopez tries to make the filling in the sandwich, but it's unable. Now we're free wide into turn 1, and that's Omari Watson who's gone wider turn 1, and someone else is falling back further back as well. Junio Lopez down to P14. Scarpelli gets past him.
What is Lopez doing?
Lopez with no front wing.
He's out. He's out of the race. I don't know if he had no front wing, or it looked like he might have still had a front wing to me, but he's just pulled over to the side and quit. He must have had too much damage. He's obviously decided he's not going to recover from there. But I'd like to see what happened to Watson exactly. It looked like he was just sort of like they were 3 wide into the first corner and someone was going to come out worst from that one. I don't know if Watson was one of the cars 3 wide or just ahead. It was 5 cars in shot. David de Vrij then P9. But we were looking at Van der Smissen. I always get those two mixed up. What happened here then? So David de Vrij. So we're watching David de Vrij. And we're still watching David the Free. Oh, here. Okay, right. Okay, we're trying to find Watson. Oh, and that's what happened to Van der Smissen. Here is that's at the last corner actually. Here's what happened to Watson. Just side by side contact. He recovered it actually quite well. I thought he was on a one. Yeah. So Lopez did have a front wing. Look. Oh, he's got extensive, huge suspension damage. Fair enough. He's not recovering that. So Lopez pulling over. He must have had a huge whack. I think it was with one of the reading games at that first corner, potentially. And this is also what happened to Watson. So, oh dear. Ooh. So Watson didn't. So Watson's dropped down the pack because of that, as opposed to the last corner incident. Not great for Amari, unfortunately. This is Josh Flynn battling with Caitlin Penny.
Okay.
Oh, ooh. Oh dear. That looks like a horrific rejoin. Yeah, it looks like an absolutely horrendous rejoin. And Caitlin Penny's lost her front wing as well as a result of that. I'd like to see that again, if we can. Here comes the replay. What happened here? Was it Manikandan rejoining? It was shocking if it was. Well, it doesn't matter who it was. It was one of them. So it's Manikandan straight back in the middle of the apex, straight into the side of Flynn, and smashes into Caitlin Penny. Awful.
Yeah, just atrocious, genuinely atrocious. That's all I have to say to that. But Slavev was,
they weren't the cause of the initial
main
contact.
attraction. Yeah,
there was something else going on here. Oh, so Slavev's been smashed sideways and does the sensible thing, keeps it off the track rather than rejoining the middle of an apex. And Samui will get away with that as a result of not getting too much damage from that. Singh then 1.4 clear of Akunov. We're looking at the Kerala, Knox, Klaffenberg in P7, by the way.
Kurit's not far behind him as well.
Yeah, Kurit's is on track. Well. Oh, hello. That's a late dive. I know what you're saying though. He's right there in that. He's going to be right there in that mix if these guys squabble. So we've lost Lopez. We've lost Flynn. We've effectively lost Watson. Singh had a poor race one. It's blown the championship wide open, isn't it?
I guess we have Kuritz though, who's still looking very, very strong with his driving. He's been very consistent, still winless as of now, which is unusual for a championship leader at this point in the season. After 4 rounds and 8 races, you'd usually expect the championship leader to have at least 1 race win. But there's time yet. There's plenty of time for Kuritz to get that race win done. But here's Damir Karatko as well, who started P31 in race 1 and has recovered across the 2 races, across 17 laps, up to P14. And that's a position every lap for Damir Karatko. So that's an incredible progress for the Siberia Frekian Nara driver. In fact, he's done 5 overtakes in this race alone, starting P19. So yeah, that's a good bit of racing from Karatko to recover up to where he did. But look at Lucas Murno as well, who's got 9 places off the start. Of course, helped by Omari Watson falling back quite significantly in the 7 DNFs that we've had so far. Yeah, this is kind of what I would. This track is very dangerous. No disrespect, but at this level, I mean, we're at the bottom rung of the career ladder. Well, we're obviously there's academy, but the bottom rung of the career ladder, which will actually race here. They're racing at Imola in the academy series instead, and it can be a tricky track for people to drive. This is going to be interesting as they head down the straight into turn 1. There's a battle here. Klaffenberg trying to make it up to P3 and take the position from Okanau, goes sweeping around the outside. Klaffenberg is not too far away from Vakuanov either. There's plenty of laps left for him to get his way back to P2. What a drive from Klaffenberg so far. And look at this squabbling. Tuamala trying to go down the inside, and he's going to lose out to all of them actually here, as Karala tries to make his way by. No, unable to do so. And Kurit's not too far back. He's now on the back of this pack. helped by that squabble. But Klappenburg has a nice gap now to Ockenhaug instantly and has some very, very impressive pace. He's a second quicker than Vakanov, 3 tenths quicker than Sandeep Singh. And keeping that up, it's absolutely possible that Klappenburg still has potential for the race win here, provided Singh maybe makes a couple of mistakes to decrease that 5-second gap. On board now with Kasper Kuretz getting washed out very close to the wall by that curb and losing quite a bit of time. The Kasper Kuretz bottoming out on that curb was just not great. And heading through the squiggle, he's actually losing out to David de Vries there. And yeah, that's just unfortunate for Kasper Kuretz, really. Who had a bad exit and has now lost a significant amount of time to his potential to get higher up in the pack.
Yeah, he's still there or thereabouts, and obviously there's still plenty of time, over half the race left. Shows how powerful the slipstream is, because Kuret's going to come straight back at de Vries into the final corner and takes that position back. De Vries, though, has got a decent exit. Now it's going to be all about who has that little bit of slipstream. Kuret's actually probably outside of the slipstream window of the cars in front, as they are going to go 3 wide once again. This is Tuamala on the outside, Knox in the middle, and Ockenhaug on the inside into turn 1. Ockenhaug on the inside. This is going to end in tears. Surely this is going to end in tears. No! And they're still 3 wide as they exit the corner, but Ockenhaug does come out on top. This is still going. Tuamala, they slot in. Tuamala thinking better of trying to make a move on Ockenhaug, and Ockenhaug then P4, Tuamala P5, James Knox P6.
Yeah, Knox almost went straight into the back of Tuamala there in turn 3. He had to slam on the brakes into the turn, and well, that's just not on the track anymore, is it?
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Yeah, he's got to be careful, hasn't he? I mean, we've seen already drive-throughs of the game awards that if you're doing that too often.
Fritz recovered P8 from David de Vries and now is on the back of Yunus Kerala like he was this last time around. This time not going too far over the curb, gets a decent exit, but de Vries is closer to him than he is to Kerala, so de Vries has the better slipstream here and could potentially get past by the end of the straight. It's a very long straight, but it seems like Kuretz is safe for now, but it's just about sort of managing the race at this point, because he's seen his teammate carve through this pack of drivers ahead, and he should be very capable of doing it, but he's been stuck for a number of laps now behind these drivers who are battling, and Tuamala down the inside into the final corner on Magnus Ockenhaug. Tuamala hits the wall and down the main straight. That's going to compromise his run severely. Klappenburg sets the fastest lap. James Knox on the inside of Kerala. Ockenhaug on the inside of Tuamala. Kuretz around the outside gets past Yunus Kerala. And whoa! Tuamala's round.
Tuamala lost the back end. I don't know if he was helped round or not. Couldn't see. He was just on the edge of the screen. But Tuamala drops down the pack then. P10, because they're so tight. It's a long train, this, all the way back from Ockenhaug, all the way down now to Thijs Youngstra, who's right on the back of him. This is because of all of the squabbling they've been doing. They have just bunched up right up into a big pack. Klappenburg, by the way, to 52.3 on lap 6 is extremely impressive. That would put him like in the top 10 on the grid.
Yeah, it's incredible
11th. It would put him 11th place on the grid, and that was on much lower fuel and fresh tyres. That's incredible.
Yeah, Klappenburg really has found his rhythm in this race here, and continues to close that gap to Bobby Vakanov, and in fact close that gap very much to Singh. He's 4 attempts on the last attempt closer to Singh. Oh no! Kerala's round, Kuretz's round, and this has huge implications for the championship. Tuamala is able to get past Kuretz. Oh, don't rejoin badly. Kuretz down to P13.
Well,
What
this needs a
happened there?
replay. We'll find out. We were sort of blindsided by it, weren't we? By the camera angle, they sort of emerged from the shot. Oh, Casper. Oh, my friend. That's a big misjudgment. And unfortunately, he's just run straight into the back of Kerala and sent him flying one direction and Kuric the other. Just left it too late to... Well, now watching that again, Kerala didn't exactly hold his line perfectly, did he? That'll be interesting to see on board with Kerala. Did Kerala hold his line? Did he jink left slightly? He's just come left a bit. I mean, he's not jinked, but he's just opened the steering just a smidge and it's caught out Kuric. That is difficult to call, Alex.
Yeah, that's a 50-50 blame, honestly. I think it's unpredictable to be moving like that close to the braking zone, especially when you're about to brake. You shouldn't be moving at all on the racetrack in terms of your lateral position compared to other cars.
Yeah, but they were sort of midway down a straight. I mean, it wasn't right next to the braking zone. I mean, I appreciate there was one coming up, but yeah, it's tricky to call that one. Tricky to call. I don't want to attribute blame. I feel like Kuric, was always going to move left, and Kerala just slightly opened the steering. It's just one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a series of unfortunate events, and for Kuric, that's not great, as Singh is going to get a big advantage now in the championship, potentially catching up a very large gap compared to Omari Watson and Junio Lopez, who haven't scored that many points in these two races and haven't been all that successful in trying to recuperate the positions in race 2. Omari Watson P17, Junio Lopez just out of the race, and this third time in the last 4 races Lopez hasn't finished or hasn't even started. So yeah, that's I would say a huge loss for Lopez, but also a huge loss now for Kuric, and Klaffenberg is on the back of Bobby Vakanov, and through the S section will fall victim to the dirty air, but the pace nonetheless has been mightily impressive from Klaffenberg.
It has. He's absolutely pinned through all of these fast corners, able to hold it just about within track limits. He's driving very well, and the car looks absolutely planted, doesn't it? It really does. Through the high-speed stuff, he's really obviously put a lot of time and effort into getting the setup right. Even then, that was a controlled drift through the middle of the corner there, and this is just a matter of time, and he's just progressed his way through the field, and he's gonna end up P2.
Absolutely. That gap of 4 seconds to Singh is unrealistic, I would say, to recuperate across 4 laps. But look at the straight line speed advantage Klaffenbach has as well. That's with slipstream, but that is not just the effect of slipstream compared to what Bobby Vakanov is doing. But that's a low downforce setup that Klaffenbach is able to have this car so planted that he can be significantly quicker than Bobby Vakanov here. And heading into the final corner, Vakanov holds that inside line, and Klaffenbach to the outside. Look at this contact!
I don't know. It's hard to tell from that angle, but it looked like Klaffenberg gave him absolutely no room at all and turned in very early. They both survive, but both of them in the wall one way or the other. So it'd be interesting to see if any of them or either of them have got damage as they go side by side down the straight, down towards turn 1. Vakunov's gone very defensive. Klaffenberg trying to go around the outside, and Klaffenberg unable to do so. Now he runs into the back of Vakunov. I feel like Julian's trying to force the issue here. He's got plenty of time. He knows he's got a significant pace advantage. Why is he trying to do this so quickly? It's not like he's going to catch Singh from here 6 seconds down the road.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Here's James Knox, though, fighting with Magnus Ockenhaug for P4. Scarpelli not far behind, and if any mistakes are made, Scarpelli will be in on this action, and potentially Tuamala as well, who did fall down at one point, but has recovered quite nicely. Same with Kasper Kuric, but there could still be a penalty. Kasper Kuric got past Kerala this time without incident, moves up to P12. But the battle here is with James Knox, and of course, further ahead with Klaffenberg and Bobby Vakanov. And yeah, I think Vakanov actually has some decent pace and some very good defensive driving to be staying ahead of the reading game driver as he has.
I agree. But for me, looking at this battle, let's look at this battle. So we've got James Knox coming towards Ockenhaug again. Ockenhaug has driven a very good race, actually, so far to stay at the front of this lengthy train that kind of has slightly spread out just a little bit. And James Knox now in the slipstream, trying to find a way through. It's tricky to know exactly whether it's better to wait for the main straight or try and make a move into the final corner as they go round that final corner. Now Klaffenberg's all over the back of Vakunov, and they're still squabbling. Vakunov driving that very defensive line down in turn 1, and he's locked up, and through goes Klaffenberg, and bye goes second position for Vakunov.
Yeah, Vakunov just was too late on the brakes, locked them up, and here's Scarpelli, like I said, picking up on some of this action, does hit the outside wall at turn 1 though, and that's going to bring again Thijs Jungstra, Tuomala, Karatko and David de Vries into the fight here. Karatko up to P9, by the way. That's 10 positions in this race that he's been able to recover. What a yellow in Sector 1. Kuritz again has fallen down. Omari Watson moves into the points, but what's happened this time with Kuritz?
Well, we're about to find out, I'm sure.
Retires.
Oh, okay. So Dix and Gillette. I wonder if there's some squabbly contact going on there. Difficult to say without seeing a replay, of course, but Kuritz obviously trying to make up for his mistake and has got involved in some drama of some kinds. Difficult to tell without the replay to say exactly what happened. I'm sure Fabian is racing through the options trying to find it. Here we go. What happened here? Well, he's not exactly right on the back of someone. Oh, he's hit the inside wall and cut the track. And okay, so now we're side by side with one of the academy drivers, and he's turned in, and there's contact, and around he goes. Now, what happened to Gillette and Dix? Are they separate incidents?
I would assume so. My guess is Dix spins here, or gets taken out, and Gillette just goes into him and can't really do anything about it.
Yeah. Okay. So the actual incident there between Dix and one of the RNG cars, I couldn't tell you which one without checking. Yeah, okay, so the RNG car is not given enough room on the apex. Dix is fully alongside. And Gillette, therefore, has lost his front wing and sensibly retires rather than trying to battle his way back to the pit lane from there. Back we go to live.
Toby.
I know. Oh, Scarpelli's tobogganed off the curb. And now Scarpelli's going to go tumbling down the order. That is an interesting rejoin. There's another car wide there. Karatko running very, very wide. They've got to be careful of these track limits. But, yeah, 9 retirements. Not good. I mean, that's a third of the grid almost.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of retirements considering the length of the race. And sure, it might be different if the races were longer. People would be more conservative. But, you know, that's a massive amount of victims for the Jeddah Corniche circuit to have claimed. That's 9 drivers, 9 separate occasions. Caitlin Penny, of course, will benefit of this. But here's James Knox now to the inside of Magnus Ockenhaug. Thinks better of it, and that's a wise decision because we've seen what happens if you try and go side by side there. Most of the time, you don't get given space on the inside, and you just end up around facing the wrong way, and not ideal. But here's David de Vries trying to recover P9 from Damir Karatko onto the inside here at the final corner, and will be late on the brakes and get cleanly past Karatko. But I imagine that won't be without a fight now as we head onto the main straight. Ockenhaug lost out to Knox, but Ockenhaug's also in a he's pushing him along the straight, really.
Yeah, bum drafting him down into turn 1, that looked like, because they're going 3 wide once again, and this again could end in tears. Round the outside goes Youngstra, has to cut across the track. Ockenhaug's going to recover that one, and on the exit then you've got Tuamala trying to take advantage. It's still side by side between Knox and Ockenhaug. Knox is surely going to move in front, and does. And Tuamala off the track. They're still side by side though. Here comes around the outside James Knox. James Knox takes the position back from Ockenhaug. This is going to go right to the flag as we're on the final lap. Sandeep Singh has got a 4-second best part of advantage to Klaffenberg, so that one's done. Those guys know they've got a bit of space in the track limit tank, I would say, and have run wide through there. Scapelli on the outside of Tuamala, down into the long banked left-hander, and it looks like Tuamala is going to hold on to that one. Further in front, though, there is still that squabble between Ockenhaug and Thijs Youngstra, and they are very, very close together as we head into the middle part of the lap for the final time.
Yeah, James Knox, I also want to point out, had a great bit of defensive driving into turn 1. And also, when he had whoever it was cutting the inside, he moved out of the way, and that's just great awareness from James Knox. But nonetheless, Singh further ahead doesn't have to worry about much. But here's the battle, really, as James Knox runs wide, gets a bad exit compared to Magnus Ockenhaug, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as I imagine Singh will be crossing the line to win for the second time.
Correct.
This season already. So the first driver to win twice is Sandeep Singh, and here's Magnus Ockenhaug now trying to the line to battle with James Knox for P4 in the slipstream. I think it's just not enough for Ockenhaug. It might be, though, to the line. Oh, Ockenhaug just beaten out by James Knox by a matter of seconds. Judas Kerala finishes P13. His Glamsetter battling with Ben Skinner to the line. Skinner unable to get past before the finish line. And, well, there's your point scorers. And what a race to the line that was.
Yeah, I think Knox and Ockenhaug, I think it finished in the right way round there after that squabble on the final couple of laps, but it was so close. They were less than a tenth, 300ths apart as they crossed the line, so very, very tight indeed. But a great win for Singh. Obviously, that beautiful start set himself up nicely and powered away from the pack. I'd just like to point out, Klaffenberg was 1.4 seconds quicker than him on the final lap. Very, very rapid indeed at the back end of the race. But these are the results then, Alex.
No, it's your turn.
Sandeep Singh wins the race from Klaffenberg in P2, who did a great job to come through the pack and finish there. Bobby Vakuinov holding on to P3. James Knox getting the better of Ockenhaug on that final straight. Thijs Youngstra 6th. Tuamala 7th. Scapelli in 8th. Karatko in 9th, and improving considering he started the first race last. David the Free in 10th place. Kurt Rotjav, Lucas Murno, Jonas Kerala, Omari Watson recovering to 14th, and Johannes Lepit. Our final point scorers: Mikhail Falkenhayn in 16th, Glamsetter, Ben Skinner, Kasper Koritz, the victim of his own problems, in 19th, Samui Slavev in 20th position. Manamanda Kandan in 21st. Caitlin Penny did well to pit and then finish in 22nd place. And then we have the long list of retirements: Joe Gillette, Jörn Dix, Shimon Kanda, Craig Patterson, Junior Lopez, Mihajlo Vicentievich, Justin van der Smissen, Victor Bernat, and Josh Flynn not finishing. And there's rain. Lots of it just outside my window. I do apologise. It's extremely heavy. This is the heaviest rain I've ever heard. I'm so sorry, guys. Interview time. Hopefully we get some people joining us. But quickly, Alex, what do you think of the races we just watched?
Well, chaotic is one word to describe it. It was just absolutely insane. There was battling throughout the entire race, which is the beauty of Formula Sprint 2, is that you have your battles constantly and everyone's, close, because the cars are relatively unaffected by dirty air. They are very affected when you get close, but the pack is close, and that was some good racing, but also a lot of incidents, and that was sort of what we were expecting.
It was. I think some of them are just the nature of this track, but also some could have been avoided a little bit better. I'm not going to name names, but there were some pretty poor rejoins and other drivers that could have held the brake and not compounded some of the incidents. So not ideal, but this is a learning series, and of course these guys doing the very best they can, and it is what it is. You do expect some of that from this level of championship. Right, let's bring in the first person who is queuing up. That's Domenico Scarpelli. We're going to have time for 3 interviews, and we only have 2 waiting for interview, and I'm not sure who the other one is. So we're going to go with Domenico Scarpelli. So, Dom, how are you? And how do you feel it went so far this round?
I mean, this round could have went better for sure, but we'll definitely take these points home. Bit luck in race 1, where I spun in the final corner. You probably seen me finish the race without the wings.
Yep.
I had an insane drag race with Gert Rotjärv at the end there, but yeah, it should be all good. Race 2, I was involved in that fight for P4 at the end, but there I went skateboarding on the turn 7 curb and just went off the track there and lost all the momentum and chance for P4. But I've seen quite a few track limits all over the track, especially in the turn 10, 11, 12 section. So I wouldn't consider these results like official, because there will definitely be penalties. I've seen some insane moves while climbing up your race too. So yeah.
I have to say, I think there are definitely some penalties coming. I don't envy the disciplinary committee too much, but yeah, not ideal all the way through. Alex, do you have a question for Dom?
No, I don't really, because it was, with all due respect, it was sort of a forgetful race for you. You were sort of there, but not really there in terms of the broadcast. So yeah, it's just a good second race. Just finished P8, and where did you finish in race 1?
No, we don't talk about my finish.
P14.
We don't talk about it. I was sitting P11, but lost it in the final lap at the fast chicane and lost both wings. Got lucky to not lose the engine there, to be fair, but I think you've seen me crossing the line on the broadcast without the front and rear wing, but yeah.
That's exactly what I did in 2023, so yeah, join the club.
It should be fine. We are fine. All good.
Right, thanks.
yeah.
Thanks, Domenico. Good luck for the next round, which of course is Spain in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
Let's bring in. Who do you want to bring in?
Where did Magnus Haug finish in race 1? He finished P5 in race 2.
Battle to the line, wasn't it?
P10, yeah. We'll bring in Magnus. Hello, Magnus. How are you?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah.
How?
It's a bit exhausted mentally because I felt like I was Alonso, defend like a Lion Prime the whole race.
Yeah, there was good defensive driving to end up where you did in the race. I must say that much. But you know, do you feel sort of disappointed that you got beaten out at the line by such a small margin in race 2?
Yeah, because I feel like both me and James was playing like mind games into the last corner. Neither of us wanted to lead going on the start finish, right? So my mind on that last lap was to do one last corner sand, but he covered that last second, so I had to go around the outside, and that didn't work. And overall, I was following Bobby early on, and then had a small moment with the dirt air, so I lost that slipstream. So I feel like if I was able to hold on Bobby, I feel like maybe a P3 was possible, but like defending from all that chaos behind, it felt like even a bigger win that I survived in the end and not dying, literally.
Well done, Magnus. Obviously, you've had some ups and downs this season, but you've been fairly consistent otherwise. Fifth, sixth, fifth now here. Obviously, that P19 at Japan. It does put you, I think, fifth in the standings currently. I mean, obviously, you have to continuously pick up points in this championship to finish highly at the end of the season. You can see what happens if you're, for example, Junior Lopez has had some podiums and also some DNFs. It's important for the consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, like when I first started in FS2, like it was like a bit difficult to get hang of things, like how to, what kind of mindset to approach to each race weekend. But as you get more experience, you start to get like a good feel for how to approach each race and when to fight and when to not fight, to leave for another day. And I feel like various other racing sites, let's say like iRacing, like and even like some racing and automobilists, like have learned me how to gain like racecraft and avoid getting caught up in incidents, while others seems to like have a bit more inconsistency overall.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I would say this championship there's a lot of guys who aren't that old racing here, and obviously they're a little bit inexperienced, picking up that knowledge as they go, sort of thing, aren't they? So yeah, it's one of those things where once you've done a few seasons, you kind of calm down a little bit and know when to make a move and when not, I suppose.
Yeah, like first year, my mindset was to just keep it clean, not to get into any incidents, just race with people who was around on my pace and skill level. And then last season I helped Optimal to clinch that team championship. Like I feel like whatever mindset I had going last year is working well this year. Like I haven't really changed my approach at all going into each race. And funnily enough, before this race, because I've been busy real life, so I only had 2 or 3 hours in total to prepare for the race. So I've sat down last night before I went to bed, I did 2 hours of driving and 1 hour after work. Had a late shift today, so jumped straight in the sim rig, and yeah.
Cool. Well, well done for holding off and battling away and finishing in that P5 in race 2. That's good stuff, Magnus.
Yeah, I hope to build on it for the coming races. Like last year around this time I already had the race win, so I hope to change that in Spain and at least get on a podium and see what happens.
Nice, cool. Well, we'll speak to you hopefully the next round. Right, thank you, Magnus. Last one, I think we should do Julian Klaffenberg, who is waiting for an interview. What do you think, Alex?
Go for it. It's your interview, though.
Julian, welcome.
Hello.
Wie geht's?
Good.
I mean, you absolutely smashed it. Obviously, exceptional pace, and considering you were last here in 2023, end of 2023, it's great to see you straight back and straight in there with the first and second.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of not struggling. I was just a bit mad about my quali because I just didn't put the lap together. Because my PB would have been P1 and I just messed it up. I don't know. I just couldn't get the lap together. But yeah, it's great to be back. Massive thanks to Carter to give me the opportunity, and it's actually quite a lot of fun driving these cars. And yeah, it was decent 2 races. Just a little bit unfortunate that I couldn't really go for the win in the second one, but it is what it is. Still very happy, and yeah.
I mean, you obviously have come straight in and straight on the pace. How did you prepare for this? Did you prepare like a lot? Did you know for a while that you were going to be racing, or is this something you've known for a few days, did some intense practice? How did it go?
Like 2 weeks ago or something, like when we were at Racing Prodigy event, I was talking with Carter and he said that there's like a driver who is like banned, and I also got to, like, one of my teammates told me I have to say this message, free Brody. Yeah, but Carter told me that I might get an opportunity to race, and then he just wrote me like a couple of days ago, and then yeah, I was doing some practice laps with like the base setup I got, so very happy to have like because I had a setup I could instantly be pretty fast, and then I tried to like optimize the setup for myself, and the teammates also liked it, so they used it as well, which was pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I obviously prepared because I've never driven this cars before, but yeah, I mean, pretty decent preparation.
Yeah, good. And of course, the more you prepare, then the better the results are. It's something I will always say to anyone. It does not matter your skill level. If you put the effort in, you will get the results. You know, whatever that result is for your level. So, you know, if you're currently P20 and you're like, I don't know how to improve, just do more laps, and then you'll get better pace.
Yep.
So, so are you here for the rest of the season now, Julian?
Actually, I like driving these cars, but I don't think I could really like take Brody's seat. He might actually not be racing next race, so probably I'll be back for Spain, I think. But I'm not 100% sure yet, and I actually don't think so. But maybe in the future, maybe in 2 years again. But I hope I'll be back soon. So.
Yeah, well, you're definitely an addition to GPVWC. So, vielen Dank. I assume it's probably Julian, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Julian. Right. Thank you very much. Tschüss.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Alex,
Yes,
it's time to end.
finally. Interviews go on so long, and I just zone out completely.
They weren't that long. I tried to keep it to just 3 and keep a minimum. We had 45 minutes of interviews the other day in FS1.
That's no, I would,
Sorry,
I would just
SL2
leave. I
was.
would leave at some point.
SL2 it was, but yeah,
But 12 minutes, you know, that's long for Formula
12 minutes
Sport
is okay. 45 minutes is a little bit pushing it, like, but.
But you know, it's FS2. You know, we've got to be sprinting, of course.
I got things to do. I've got to go and pet a cat or two, like.
Yeah, I want to go eat food.
Have you not eaten?
I haven't, no.
Oh, my missus very kindly made me steak tonight.
I got up, then went straight to commentary. Yeah.
You got up?
Oh, got here.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, well, you weren't in bed, surely. That would be crazy. Alex is working on a very exciting project behind the scenes that we're not going to talk about just yet, but I'm very excited to speak to him after this. But I'll just drop that little one in there.
If you guess, you get nothing, by the way.
You get absolutely curly-whirly.
I feel like that's a bit too much. Half a curly-whirly.
They're expensive. That is a good piece of currency, that. Curly-whirly. Especially, like, if you get one of those double-sized ones. Oh. Right, thanks for watching. I've been Toby Davis.
Yes, he has.
We'll see you in 2 weeks in Spain. Don't miss the next event at GPV, which is on Thursday, which will be Formula Sprint 1. Amir Oates and Alex Hallows will be taking you through that one, as Owen Harmon is on holiday. And Remco will be cameraing with that. Today we had Fabian Jungbluth. Thank you so much for cameraing. It's not a verb, but you know what I'm saying. And we will be back in 2 weeks' time, myself and Alex. Thank you for watching. Until then, goodbye.
Bye-bye.